This game contains content might not be suitable for most audiences. Viewers' discretion is advised. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived, whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. Day 1, the Beloved. And class dismissed. By our next meeting, I need a full report of the chosen poem everyone searched. Got it? The classroom was then filled with a series of low yes ma'ams and a few hums. Satisfied, your literature teacher packs up her things and went out of the classroom. Once she was out, the students went on a series of chitter and chatter. Others stood up, dragging their chair as they prepared to head out for lunch break. A slight yawn escaped your lips. Your eyes gazed outside through the classroom's windows. The sky is starting to dim, the sun's rays blocked by the dark clouds looming. You curse under your breath. It's going to rain. Just my luck. I didn't bother to bring an umbrella too. You sigh in irritation as you stood up from your seat. Suddenly, a tap on your shoulder interrupted your line of thought. You turn your head towards the person asking for your attention. Your eyes are met with cobalt blue ones. They stare straight into your own orbs, a brow raised as if in slight irritation. She is clearly impatient. Impatient for what? Did you hear me? Do you want to come with us for lunch? I mean, I know you don't really eat lunch and spend most of your time somewhere else, but you sure you're not going to eat? I mean, look at you. Your eye twitched from her words. You have no idea if that was out of concern for your well-being or if she's trying to bring you down. Either way, it stung for you. You kind of look like you came straight out of Danganronpa, and I gotta say, kind of into it. You wrapped your arms around yourself, your insecurity rising up to your throat, trying to suffocate you. Brittany! Just then, a new and familiar voice broke your inner turmoil. Oh, that's right. That's really insensitive of you. Imagine if someone else told you about how you look. Crow Ichiban. The class rep and one of your close friends. Heck, probably only of your friends that you really admire. And maybe have a tiny crush on. Brittany only huffed and looked away from Crow's spiteful gaze as he turns his attention to you. Crow gives you a small smile while handing out something to you. You look down to see it. It was your ID. You dropped this, by the way. You grab your ID and look down to see. Let me guess. It's gonna be a screen showing me my name and my pronouns, right? My name is Lion. My last name is Lion. The ID shows my name, Lion, along my pronouns. Let's go with they, them. You looked at the ID one more time and double-checked if it's correct. Lion, pronouns they, them. Yes. This doesn't seem right. Maybe my eyes are itching. Yeah, that's more or less right. Lion. You took your ID back from Crow and give him a small thank you. He gave you a closed smile, muttering a no problem as he went back to Brittany's side where the rest of his friends are. So, you coming with us or what? Brittany said, clearly getting impatient by the second, her hand on her hip while waiting for your response. You then decided to go with them, go to the library, go to the rooftop. God, what's the worst that could happen? But yeah, why not? Brittany hummed a sound of content before turning her heel and heading towards the classroom's exit. In tow with her are four other people, one being Crow. Crow looks back at you by the door, waiting for you. You caught up with them and met eyes with Crow again. There was something in his gaze that sent a shiver down your spine. You quickly averted your eyes once you got out with Crow following behind you, and the group heading towards the school's cafeteria. The cafeteria was loud, students lining up to grab today's lunch, while the rest went to a table with their packed lunches. So Lion, do you want to come with us to get the school's food for the day, or do you want to grab a table with the others? Brittany said, her gaze fixate on you. Brittany, along with Crow and a girl with an orange uniform, seemed to be grabbing school lunch. Yeah. Meanwhile, the two guys with them have their own packed lunch, about to head off to find a seat for the group. You decided that you... I'm gonna buy lunch. I mean, heck, I kind of like Crow. Everyone in this visual novel is hot. How is that even possible? How are you going to make this easier on me? Yeah, buy my lunch. Yeah, I'll buy. All right, then. Daryl, Geo, go find us some seats while we line up. The jock, you assume was named Daryl, waved Brittany away and turned around with the other male named Geo to find a seat. His arm wrapped around his shoulder while Geo was clearly a bit annoyed at the gesture. Come on, Jess, let's get in line. Yeah, of course. You go first, Britt. She's so cute! The girl Brittany called out, you guess was Jess, followed her behind. Let's get in line before more people start piling up. We don't want to get the bad stuff for lunch. You shuddered at the thought, remembering the leftovers from the school cafeteria. You nodded and went with Crow and getting in line with the rest of the students. In the line, Crow turned his attention back to you. I'm glad you're able to hang around with us, Lion. Even if it's most of the time. No problem. I actually kind of regret coming. No problem. No problem, Crow. Maybe I just need a change of scenery, that's all. Crow just chuckled before picking his food behind the counter, paying for it. Afterwards, you do the same. You weren't really that hungry, and just bought a sandwich and a juice that you'd regularly buy whenever you find the time to spend your lunch break here. Brittany was already waiting for the rest of you, tray in hand. Once everyone got their food, Brittany turned her heel and walked towards where Daryl and Geo were seated. Move your butt aside, Daryl. I'm sick. A loud gasp escaped from Brittany's lips. Her mouth opened in shock with the food that was on her tray, now splattered across a white uniform. Brittany! Oops, sorry about that. Should have watched where you're going there. Brittany's eyes met with the person responsible. A group of girls, definitely bullies, and judging from Brittany's face, filled with rage. They seemed to know each other. Britt! You alright? We should get yourself clean. You... Freaking! This is my only clean uniform! How dare you! Oh, look at Miss Claire all flared up. Careful there, sweetie. You'll get wrinkles. It's not like you're all ugly already. And by ugly, this is getting ugly quite fast. Everyone's gazes were on the group of girls. Some taking out their phones, either taking pictures or start to record. Crows tried to come in between them to stop the fight, but he wasn't fast enough. Splat! Next thing we knew, another loud gasp was heard. A wide smile was on Brittany's face, food on a mean girl's white uniform as well. Jess's face filled with shock as the food from a tray is gone. No, not Jess's food! Take that, you poop stain! How dare you! Food fight! Next thing everyone knows, the cafeteria is filled with rowdy teenagers and food flying across the area. Are those trays? Ah! A sudden wave of pain was felt on your head, your whole face. And the last thing you saw was Crow calling out your name before passing out. Please tell me it opens to the Skyrim intro. God, it'll be amazing. Where am I? You're awake. Thank goodness. Yeah. Crow? You tried to sit up, but the sudden pain that went through your head stopped you. Crow gently pushed you back down on what seems to be a bed before taking seat beside it. The nurse already bandaged your head. Don't push yourself. What happened? Well, after Daryl started that mess of a food fight, the principal was called in to stop it. Daryl got lucky enough to escape when he did. Geo was nowhere to be seen. As for Brittany, what about her? Well, Jess helped her out and grabbed a new uniform from the principal's office. Then why does my head hurt so much? Someone somehow threw a tray and you were unfortunate enough to get hit by it. Thankfully, I got you out of there before it got ugly. Thanks, Crow. I owe you one. Yeah, don't mention it. Anyway, it's a quarter near 1 in the afternoon. Yeah, I should probably head out to my next class. You should stay here until the nurse gets back. You'll be alright alone, right? Nah. Yeah, you can go ahead. You sure? Yeah, I'll be fine, Crow. You've done enough for me today. You gave him a small smile, but he did not return it. Crow then squeezed your hand, quite hesitant of letting you go before letting go. You miss it as soon as he lets go. He stood up from his seat, but not before giving you a smile, and left the infirmary. He groaned and lied back down on the bed, feeling the bandage on your head. At least the pain is slowly dying a bit. Hope it didn't leave a mark on my head. Just then you heard the door open, the nurse's voice echoing through the room, as the clicking of her heels gets louder as she draws closer. The school nurse entered, and following her was a tall student dressed in black. He seems to be holding on to his left hand, and there you can clearly see a streak of red flowing. You should be thankful you didn't cut a vein. How were they able to get past with that pocket knife in the first place? The nurse sighed. Seems like she's got her hands full with another student. The latter, however, didn't say anything, but lets out a small hiss when the nurse dabbed antibacterial on his wound. You sat up slowly, careful to not hit your head on anything else before sitting up, and looked at the student and the nurse. Your eyes met with reddish-orange ones, as the nurse finishes up wrapping his wound, a blotch of red slowly seeping out and staining the once white bandage. His eyes are still on you. Ah, you're finally awake, EpyksLion. The nurse finally notices your presence. She took out some painkillers from one of the cabinets and gave some to you. Take these to lessen the pain. You both are free to get back to your class, or you can stay here and recover. Yeah, I'll go back. Thanks for patching me up, nurse. The boy said before heading out of the infirmary. The nurse just shook her head before returning her attention to you. You can take some extra pills, but not too much. You can come back here if you ever feel like there's anything wrong, Lion. Please, take care now. You thanked the nurse before heading out of the infirmary and on to your next class. You just barely made it to your next class. Your professor already on his desk and was slowly bringing out their tools for the lesson of the day. You looked across the room, paintbrushes by the shelves, the week's featured artwork with a few blank canvases hidden in a shelf. You looked around the classroom before your eyes landed on familiar red ones. It's the guy from the clinic. How come I just noticed his presence just now? Has he always been part of the same art class as me? And judging from his face, the bandage around his left hand doesn't seem to be much of a problem to him. You shook your head and took your seat. I'll be assigning each one of you with a partner to work with for the coming weeks. You and your partner will be doing 3 different artworks that need to be submitted by the deadline. Hope you all got a partner already this time. Now, I want you all to go to your designated partners before I start explaining your tasks. Ah, damn it, you mumble under your breath. This is what you get for not attending his class last time. You don't have a partner. You panicked as you looked around, trying to spot some loner, an unfortunate soul like you who wasn't able to attend last time. But from the looks of it, it seems like everyone's already partnered up. Just great. You were forced out of your seat since your seatmate's partner will be occupying it for class. Unlike the rest of the class scurrying around to meet their partner, there was one who wasn't moving from their seat. You went to where he was situated at, seeming to be reading a book. You let out a small cough to catch his attention. He closed his book and looked up at you. Seems like you're a bit lost there. You have a partner? No? Well, just your luck then. Me neither. So, do you want to be partners? Yeah, sure. Why not? You took the vacant seat right beside him. His book now tucked away and on his desk is now a pen and a piece of paper, seemingly ready to take notes. Hey, never got to know your name. It's not really that important. Well, I should at least know what to call you instead of green-streaked hair guy. He raised a brow to your silly nickname you gave him before slightly shaking his head. Sullivan Brooks Mancia. But just call me Saul. Saul. Saul means son of brightness, right? The name contradicts with your whole glam, not gonna lie. This means son of brightness, right? Saul nodded. Yeah, yes, you could say that. I like it. It's got a unique ring to it. Thanks. Well, I'm Lion. Nice to finally meet you, Saul. Saul nodded with a small smile before returning his attention back to the professor. For this term, I want you and your partner to pass 3 art pieces. First one will be a portrait of your partner, strictly on paper with charcoal as a medium. You groaned. Boomer art teachers. Your professor then proceeds to give the other 2 tasks before leaving you and the rest of the class to do your tasks for the day. Everyone started talking with their partners, some taking out their needed materials as the other one poses. You turn to Saul as he takes out his own charcoal pencil and a sketch pad for the class. I gotta tell you right now, Saul, I'm not that good at art, pretty great at art. I am not great. I am not good at all. I think it was one of my weakest subjects, back in college. Oh god, but it was something we had to pick up because, in order to do, storyboards and basically, be able to do animations and all, you need to know how to do art. Frick. So anyway, I'm not that great at art. Yeah, I'm sure you're fine. Everyone starts somewhere. Plus, can't really judge you since I haven't seen you work before. Along with this damned injury on my hand. Oh, right. Let's try not to put much more stress on that hand. Well, prepare to be amazed. That's the spirit. From the newfound determination and soul's cheering, you took your own sketch pad and charcoal pencil as you worked with his portrait. While you were sketching up, you can't help but avert your eyes on his bandaged hand from time to time. Seems you're quite curious to know what happened to this, huh? And you weren't slick with it either. He froze when he caught you red-handed, just like the red seeping out of his hand. You stopped drawing. Sorry. That was a bit rude of me. It's fine. This is just the usual for me. I've gotten worse injuries than this. He raised a brow at that. Not the worst? If you don't mind me asking, what happened? He paused and averted his eyes, but opens up to speak. Nothing much. Was minding my own business. Got assaulted. Had to defend myself. He talked as if it's just another normal Monday for him. Their eyes furrowed. He noticed and just chuckled. No need to worry about me. All that matters is that I'm still here. You didn't say anything. However, continuing on with the drawing, your movement's slow, and you now refuse to look at his injured hand. The school is way more screwed up than I thought it would be. The bell rang, and sadly, you weren't done with his portrait yet. Can I see it? Wait! I'm not finished yet. I'll show it to you once I'm done with it. Plus, you still need to draw me once your injury gets better. You close your sketch pad and fix your things. Soul shrugged and agreed as he fixed his own things. The rest of the class went out of the classroom along with you and Saul as he continued on in the hallway. Do you have a phone? We should exchange numbers and update each other so that we can do the next 2 tasks. Saul then takes out his own number and asks for your number. You recite it out loud as he inputs it into his phone. Let me try sending you a message. You nodded and looked at your phone screen and see a new notification from an unknown number. This must be Saul's. Sup? You type so differently from how you look. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. He chuckled. He rolled his eyes. You're a good guy, Saul. How about we hang out again tomorrow? By your request, Saul's eyes widened in disbelief. He lets out a breath that he was somehow holding before sighing. Of course. I'll see you tomorrow then? He nodded and walked off, giving him a wave goodbye, him returning with his own small wave. As you walked through the hallway, her eyes caught on something on the nearby bulletin board. A poster was plastered on the large board. The Hallows Ball. Come enjoy the festive spirit of Hallows Eve. A Halloween party, huh? By the time you arrived at your small apartment, it was already past 5 p.m. You stretched your arms and let out a small groan. You locked your doors and decided to just order takeout for dinner. You went to your living room and plopped down onto your couch and took out your phone. Scrolling through until a ping notified you of a new message. Oh, Daryl's asking me out. Anyone go to the Halloween party this Friday? It's gonna be awesome. Aren't we all a bit too old for costume parties? Is it required? You two are no fun at all. I won't go if it's not a school requirement. It's a waste of my time anyway. Is it? No, it isn't. But it'll be a fun and great experience for all of us. I mean, we should loosen up a bit, you know? Yeah, I agree with Crow. Count me in. Pass. Got more important things to do than party. Now, will you excuse me? I'll be doing my leftover task for tonight. Gio has gone offline. Sheesh, just sticking him on as usual. How about you, Lion? Me? You joining? It'll be fun. You were honestly surprised they somehow remembered you. Checking your calendar through your phone, you didn't seem to have any plans in the near future, or plans at all. You'd like to just spend your time in your apartment alone. I mean, sure. It's great to hear. Crow seems happy about it. You giggled. This also reminds you of something. Or rather, someone. Opening another chat, you tapped in Soul's newly added contact and sent him a message by sending the image of the same poster Daryl sent. The Halloween party? Hosted by the school? Yeah! I'm not really into parties. Oh. Well, that's alright. Just asking. That's all. Soul is typing. Wait. If you're going, then I'll come as well. Really? Really. Do you plan on dressing up? No. Are you? I mean, it's a costume party, so why not? I'll try to think of something then. You swear you could feel the smile behind those words. With a quick word of goodbye, you set your phone down when you heard your doorbell. There must be food delivery. Afterwards, you ate your dinner and prepared yourself for bed. You thought of today and the events that occurred. And meeting Soul, of course. He's a real nice guy. It's a wonder how I never met him despite sharing a single class with him. Oh well. You enter your bedroom, letting out a big yawn as you stretch your body. You turn to your laundry, slowly piling up, and scratch your head. You'll probably have to do laundry tomorrow. But for now, you plop yourself on the soft cushions of your bed, getting into a comfortable position and slowly dozing off as you close your eyes, embracing sleep as the night goes. More made another mess. And yet, they still smell like you. Seems like my luck is finally turning around for the better. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Lion. I won. And only soulmate. End of day 1. Alright, so I'm a bit curious. What happens if we go up to the library? Thanks. I think I'll head to the library today. Brittany just gave a low huff, not saying anything. She turned around with 4 of her friends following her lead, one of them being Crow. He, however, gave you one last look before heading out with the rest of the group. A sigh of relief escaped your lips as you gather your thoughts and things. Next stop, the library. The hallway was rowdy and filled with a mix of sweaty and tired young adults, some on their way to the next class while the rest went to the cafeteria's direction. And of course there were some who was going the same direction as you were. The library door is beyond your reach, a smile etched on your face, already missing the smell of books. You opened the doors and you were hit with the smell of coffee and books. You went to your usual spot in the library, the one by the large window near the cafe section. The fancy thing about university is that their library is a library cafe. Students can get coffee as early in the morning up until the afternoon. It is a huge hit among the students, and you can't seem to blame them. Coffee fuels every college student's souls, especially getting work done. As you made your way towards your usual spot, however, you halted when a person suddenly took a seat on the spot. You groaned. Just great. What should I do about this? Find somewhere else to sit, ask him to move away from your seat, just take the seat beside him. I'll take the seat beside him. At the cost of the comfort of your favorite spot, you don't want to deal with him, nor want to engage in conversation. You walk towards where he is, him not minding your presence, and took the seat right next to him. He paid you no mind as you placed your things down and took out your laptop, preparing to write down a head start of your report. It was quiet and your attention was just solely focused on the work before you, while the guy beside you continued on with his book, The sound of him flipping through was oddly comforting. Time passed by, and next thing you know, there was only a few students left in the library. The guy beside you closed his book, chucked it in his bag, and left the library. You turned to look up at the library's large clock, a few minutes before your next class. You stopped writing down, turned off your laptop, and placed all of your things in your bag before heading out of the library as you quickly rushed out to make it to your next class. So considering Saul didn't get his hand gashed up, I'm gonna say that I'm not that great at art. Everyone starts somewhere. Would you like me to draw you first then? If it's not a problem. Not at all. With that, Saul takes out his own sketchbook and pencil, sitting upright and facing you. You straighten up your bag, sitting properly as if you're about to take an ID picture. Is this okay? Just relax your shoulders. You'll be fine. Just be natural. Okay. Your breathing stopped. Saul leaned in, his face a few inches near your face, almost feeling his minty breath. He raised his hand and brushed a strand of your hair away from your face and tucked it behind your ear. There. That was in the way. You were sure you were bright as a cherry by now. You didn't say anything else, as Saul begins to sketch, his eyes hopping from the paper to your face, and you swear, every time you meet his gaze, your heartbeat quickens. Be still, my beating heart. And you dealt with that for the rest of the class. Before you knew it, the class ended. Everyone was packing their things. Saul sadly isn't done with your portrait, which you were dying to see, but he said he's going to keep it a secret until he finishes it. You better not make me look funny. What makes you think of that? Why, you? I'm kidding. His hands then tried to reach out to your face, as if wanting to cup your cheek. But he stopped midway. You're so pretty. Did you say something, Saul? Nothing. You have a phone. We should exchange numbers and update each other so that we can do the next two tasks. And we're gonna skip ahead. So the rest of the game plays out more or less the same. So I'm gonna ask him to move away from the seat. That's your seat, and no one else is going to take it away from you and your comfort. You puffed out your chest and went towards the person where your rightful spot should be. He was reading a book, way too focused on it that he didn't notice your presence for a short while. He faked a cough. This seems to catch his attention. You're in my seat. Can I have it back? He looks up from his book that he's reading, and you're met with piercing reddish eyes, eye bags right under it, as if he's never gotten a wink of sleep for a week. You twiddle your thumbs, your heart thumping from your chest as you return his gaze, ending in some sort of stare down. He raised a brow before looking around, under the table, on the seat, heck, even under his book before turning back to you. I don't see your name anywhere. A vein tightened. Oh, so he's trying to be a smart butt, huh? Your cheeks puffed, and he just gave you a small chuckle before closing his book and placing it down on the table. I'll give you your seat back, but what can you offer in exchange? Coffee, just give me my seat. Something intimate! Why not? What, you want a hug or something? He raised a brow at you, a slight tilt to his head, wondering what you were trying to imply. Now that I've got a good look at him, he actually looks kinda cute. Wait, what am I saying? Shake your head, ignoring your cheeks heating up. You pat your temples, trying to get rid of the thoughts. Minding you no more, the guy returned his attention to the book in his hands. A groan escaped your mouth. With a pout, you set your things down and sat on the chair next to him. It was quiet and your attention was just solely focused on the work before you, while the guy beside you continued on with his book. The sound of him flipping through was oddly comforting. Time passed by, and next thing you know, there were only a few students left in the library. The guy next to you closed his book, chucked it in his bag, and left the library. You turned to look up at the library's large clock. A few minutes before your next class. You stopped writing down, turned off your laptop, and placed all your things in your bag before heading out the library. As you quickly rushed out to make it to your next class. And we're gonna skip ahead. So what if I said that was pretty great at art? Saul gives a small smile. I'd love to see some of your work then. So, would you like me to draw my portrait first? Sure. Wait, let me get my things. You took out your sketch pad and charcoal pencil as Saul relaxes on his seat. Would you like me to pose or... maybe do a 3/4 angle pose? Alright. Your eyes scanned his face. The more you look at him, the more you notice some of his features. His cheekbones, his lips with 2 piercings, his thick eyebrows, the way his hair settles down on his shoulders, and his reddish, orange eyes. He's actually quite handsome. For a moment, you just stared at his eyes. He noticed and stared back, his pupils dilating before he realized he was staring. Heat rises to his cheeks. He quickly averted his head away. Hey, eyes on me. Sorry, I'm just not used to being stared at for that long. Relax, it's just me. Plus, you'll stare at my boring face after I'm done with your portrait. Your face isn't boring. I actually think you're quite beautiful. He says that without even thinking twice. His eyes met yours, half-lidded, and his pupils were wide. Now it's your turn to turn red. You hit your face behind your sketch pad and whack him with your charcoal pencil. Stop saying stupid things and just stay still. Soul just chuckled and stilled his movements, a hand on his chest and a smile on his face. Before you knew it, the bell rang and class was over. You weren't done with your sketch, however. The conversation kept repeating in your mind. It made it hard for you to concentrate. And like hell, you're going to show it to Saul. Come on, just a peek. It's not done yet. Boo. You chucked the sketch pad in your bag before Saul would grab a hold of it. You got up from your seat and headed out of the classroom, Saul coming close behind with his own bag as he leaves as well with the rest of the class. You have a phone? We should exchange numbers. I'm pretty sure this all leads the same way, so let's go back. So what if I offered coffee instead? How about coffee? You sure look like you need one in a moment. He chuckled. Alright, coffee it is then. He then went back to reading his book and waving you off, waiting for his drink. He sighed as you went near the library's cafe counter. Next in line, please. However, as you faced the cashier before you, you cursed under your breath. Forgot to ask him what kind of coffee he likes. Screw it, whatever I guess. Facing the cashier again, you decided on... Well, he likes latte, so I'm gonna go with latte. I'll grab a latte, please. Sure thing. Will that be all? Yes, please. Gotcha. One latte coming right up. Once your order was called, you grabbed the drink of your choice, thanked the barista, and went back to the seat where the guy was, careful to not accidentally spill the contents of the drinks and avoiding passing students. There, you can see him still reading the book before looking up. He smelled the sweet aroma of coffee beans coming his way. Once you were beside him, you carefully placed down the cup beside him. He took it and held it to his face. He took a deep inhale before sipping from the cup. You okay? A smile forming on his face, his eyes having a slight sparkle in them before closing his eyes and taking another sip. This seems to be his favorite. Nice guess, Lion. Well, here's your coffee. So, are you moving aside or no? He looked up, thinking hard on your words. Alright, I'm kinda liking the spot too, so you just have to deal with me sitting beside you. You nod and you move to the seat right next to your now reserved spot. You took your seat, a smile on your face from your mini victory. He just rolled his eyes playfully before continuing on his book. You set your stuff down and start with your report for your literature class. Time passed by and lunch was nearing its end. You huffed out and double-checked your work that you've done so far with your laptop. I think that should do it. Satisfied, you start to pack up your things. While doing so, your seatmate starts packing up his things as well, noticing his cup of coffee is now empty. He then got out of his seat and walked away, not minding your presence as he exits. You hesitate for a short moment before calling out to him before he could reach the library doors. Hey! He stopped in his tracks and turned around to look at you, a brow raised. What's your next class? Clearly not expecting you to ask, much less talk to him again, he paused before replying. Art class. Wait, for real? With Mr. Spring? He nodded. How come you've never seen this guy throughout the semester? Sensing your confusion, he just scratched the back of his head. I don't really care if you've never seen me before. Barely go in class or make myself known either way. He sighed, irritation at the back of his throat at the idea. Probably got a warning to attend the class or he drops. You shook your head. Still, would you like to go to the next class with me? Huh? Where'd he go? I guess he went ahead. You shrugged, heading out the library onto your next class, expecting the green-streaked-haired male to be there. Right, we're back in class, and we're gonna skip ahead. Right, so now I'm gonna give him some sass, because for some reason he really likes that, so yeah. I have no time for your games. Just leave me and let me have my seat that you stole. However, he just stared back at you. A second passed before returning his attention back to his book. If you really want to sit here, then make me. Either way, I'm already comfortable here, so I'm not leaving. This guy is really getting on your nerves. Okay, if he doesn't want to leave, then so be it. Without thinking, he moved next to him before plopping himself down on his lap. This clearly caught him by surprise, for he lets out a sharp gasp, his eyes wide, gripping the book he nearly threw away. You look behind him with a cocky smirk before setting down your things on the table and went on to do your literature report. He hasn't said anything for a full minute, his body stiff. I'm pretty sure that's not the only thing that's stiff. Did he stop breathing too? Relax, will ya? Make it uncomfortable for me and it's hard to concentrate. Especially with you stiffening up behind me. The breath that he was holding was finally let out. He grumbled under his breath and places his arms beside yours as he watches you go on with your work. Edgar Allan Poe? Yeah? What about it? What a coincidence. My report is about him too, but not on A Dream Within a Dream. What made you choose this poem out of everything he's written? That was a genuine question from him, eyeing you with curiosity. I think it's interesting. The way he writes is unlike any other writer out there. Plus, I think this poem talks about being uncertain about something, like about life or someone's feelings. You trailed off, the ache in your heart suddenly burns within your body. He seems to notice your change of demeanor before opening his mouth. I think that's a good topic to make a report on. Your eyes met his, a smile on his face. A chuckle left your lips at his response. Thanks. I'll do my best on it. You realized he was staring for quite a while before looking away, a small red tint invading his cheeks, avoiding your gaze. You smiled and went on with your report on his lap, him finally relaxing underneath you. How about you? What's the poem you picked from the great Mr. Poe himself? The guy looked up as if thinking before turning to look at you. Have you read Annabel Lee? If my memory serves me right, it's a poem about their love for this woman named Annabel Lee, right? That poem, not gonna lie, has a lot of deep meaning and symbolism to it. Anyone can have multiple interpretations of it. But the main concept, at least in my opinion, is that the speaker loves Annabelle to the point of death and even after death. Yeah, pretty much, and I honestly think it's beautiful. Love? Death. His body relaxed, mind somewhere else, but a small smile and the light in his eyes are apparent before his smile turned into a frown. The people refuse to let them be together, as if fate refuses to let them die together. What was that? No, don't mind me. But, yeah, that's what my report's about. Sorry, kinda started rambling on. I don't mind. Thanks for sharing. I honestly think it's quite interesting. Also, I didn't think you'd be the type of person to be into romance. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Some time passes and there's only a few minutes left before the bell rings. You packed up your things and stood up from your seat, almost forgetting you made someone some sort of cushion. Hey, I'm sorry for sitting on you like that. It's kinda rude of me. No, it's alright. What was that? Nothing. Your next class is art, correct? How'd you know? It's my next subject. Who knows? Maybe we're classmates or just have different teachers. He lets out a sigh, seemingly disappointed at the realization. He packed up his things before heading towards the exit. You followed him on the way out. Just then, you heard someone calling out your name. You faced to your left and saw no other than Crow, Brittany, and the rest of her group of friends. Oh, man. I guess you getting your uniform dirty is like, it's a canon event. God. I see that you did spend your time in the library. I did. That was lunch. Brittany's eyes narrowed. You didn't understand why, but the moment your eyes went to a ruined uniform, you kind of guessed what happened. That has got to be the best food fight I've ever been in! The jock behind her exclaimed. He seemed to be unstained, save for a few spaghetti sauce on his jersey, but that didn't seem to bother him. Hurley, you better shut your mouth before I do the honors for you. Now, Brittany. Let's just go to the changing room and ask from principal some extra uniforms, alright? The girl with the glasses cuts off Brittany, calming her down in the process. Alright, let's go, Jess. Can't believe I have to be late on the next class because of this bull. Daryl said nothing, but hid behind the tall, stoic male as both Jess and Brittany left. Sometimes I forget just how scary she is. Would you agree, Gio? Get off me. Sometimes you wondered how the group are even friends, but then again, people don't usually approach your friend group. You often wonder. But then again, it's none of your business to pry. Ignore them. So, back to you, Lion. Oh, right. I actually had to fight someone for my favorite spot in the library. Talk about a pain in the butt. Crow just chuckled, his eyes telling you to go on. He shouldn't have gone too far. He just left. You turned around expecting the green-haired streaked male to be out there, but to your surprise, he's already gone. He's fast. How curious. Do you happen to know who they are? No. Never got to ask what's his name. Well, you better get up to your next class. We only have a few minutes left before the bell rings. I'll see you soon, Lion. You waved him goodbye, Crow going forward with Daryl and Gio behind. You scratch your head before heading towards the other direction and onto the next class as the bell rings, echoing through the hallway. You just barely made it to your next class, and we're gonna skip ahead. Right, there's one last place I do want to check out, which is the rooftop, so let's go ahead. A tick of irritation forms on your forehead before huffing out the anger. Actually, I was feeling somewhere else today, so no thanks. You and your group can go ahead. Brittany raised an eyebrow before shrugging her shoulders. Suit yourself then. She snapped her fingers before turning around and heading out with the rest of her friends. In all honesty, you have no idea where to go despite the school being very notorious and had so many facilities. You were thankful you got accepted here in the first place through your scholarship. But making friends at this forsaken school is on a whole new level. You sighed and look out your classroom's window at the darkening sky. Maybe the smell and sound of the incoming rain might help ease the burning feelings within you. With a goal in mind, you went to Rooftop. What burning feelings? What am I feeling? The rooftop is off limits, but they don't often bother to even lock it up, much less barricade it. Once you got in, you took a seat on the pavement under a small shade, as droplets of rain slowly descend from the sky. Just then, you heard footsteps to your right. A few mutters of words were heard. Curiosity nagged you. You went to the corner where the sound came from, and there stood what seemed to be a student with bluish-green hair. They were on a call, their steps in a cycle going back and forth as he talks to whoever he's talking to behind his flip phone. His other hand grips his hair, clearly irritated at whoever he's talking to. He flipped his flip phone close and let out a sigh. Suddenly his body froze. The drastic change in his demeanor sent chills down your spine. I can see you, you know. Show yourself. I come out. You slowly inch forward, showing yourself to the strange student. The more you look at his face, the more he seemed familiar, and judging from his facial expression, he was thinking the same thing. How much did you hear? I only heard you curse and nothing else. You answered with honesty. He raised a brow, tried to look at your face, see if you are telling the truth. He sighed and shook his head. Yeah, either way, it's rude to eavesdrop on someone's conversation. I told you, I just got here. You furrow your eyebrows. He just chuckled, acting as if it's just some silly teasing. You seem familiar. Let me remember. He closed his eyes, his hand on his chin, doing a thinking motion like those cartoon detectives in TV shows. Lion from art class, right? Yeah, that's who I am. The student smiled in glee. That's great. That means you'd be willing to help me with something. Wait, what? I'm Hyugo, by the way. You see, I won't be able to make it to the next class, and I kinda promised my partner for the class I'll be there. Hyugo chuckled, a sweat drop forming on his cheek. You give him a look. Seriously? But I'll make it up to you, I promise. I'm quite close to the student council and happen to know a few connections. I might be able to refer you if you like. He says with a wink and a nudge, wanting you to take the offer. That seems like a good offer. You could help lessen your expenses and have a higher discount on your scholarship, and judging from his looks, it doesn't seem like you have a choice. With a sigh, you accepted his offer. Hyugo gave you a pat on the back, as if you guys have been long-lost friends, before escorting you out the rooftop with him in tow. The school bell rings, indicating the start of the next class. You just barely made it to your next class, your professor already on his desk and slowly bringing out their tools for the lesson of the day, and we're skipping ahead. Right, so Hugo's partner is Sol, and there will be a variation in the dialogue here, so I'm just gonna show you what happens. I'm not that great at art. Yeah, I'm still quite a beginner. You got nothing to worry about. My usual partner isn't much of an artist either. Your usual partner? Yeah, I already had an assigned partner for this class. But he ditched me at the last minute for some important family business. He never tells me, though. I'm not the type to pry, either. Does your friend go by the name of Hyugo, perhaps? Yeah? How'd you know? I met him during lunch. It was at the rooftop. Typical. Sorry I got dragged into his mess, so I'm taking his place. You shook your head, telling him that you don't mind one bit. He then keeps talking as if he's scolding the green-haired lad back in the rooftop like a little brother. It's actually pretty cute. You slowly took out your sketch pad and began drawing Soul's different expressions as he talks. Would you believe me if I tell you that guy is one of the top students in the entire class, yet he's always missing in action? Really now? He doesn't seem to be that type of guy. Which part? Being a top student or always missing in action? Soul's brow raised and you shrugged as you kept on sketching his face. Soul, however, caught up to what you were doing and stood up from his seat and tried to pry your sketch pad out of your hands. Were you drawing me this entire time? No. Liar. I thought I was supposed to be the one drawing you, not the other way around. He sat back on his seat and crossed his arms. His eyes narrowed a bit while he bit his lips. Aw, come on, it's not that big of a deal, Soul. Plus, you look really cute. Soul's cheeks turned red, and eyes popped wide open from your comment. I looked away. Your grip on his arm tightened as he wrinkles his long sleeves. You said something? Nothing. You tilted your head to the side. You sure mumble a lot. It's a habit. I'm not used to talking a lot. Keep talking about your friend Hyugo. You seem to be quite fond of him regardless. Soul just sighed and rubbed his nape, his expression relaxing a bit. I owe him a lot, that's all. Enough about Hyugo, though. Let's continue on with our task. Right. And I'm drawing, and that's final. You pouted. Alright, Grumpy. As you drew, you couldn't help but stare at his face and a bandage on his cheek, and judging from how much is covering half his face, quite a large bruise. You fell down the stairs or something? What makes you say that? He asked. You pointed at his wound on his cheek with your pencil. Well, you could say that. Nothing for you to worry about, though. You weren't sure if you wanted to pry more into the conversation, much less want to know exactly what happened, because from the way he talks, it doesn't seem like he fell. That's a story for another day. Hope he gets better soon. Thanks. Saul managed to sketch up your portrait, but was caught up with the bell eventually, not being able to finish in time. You tried to pry off your sketchbook from your hands again, however, tried to get rid of the doodles you made of him during his little rant about his friend. But you chucked your sketch pad in your bag before he could get his hands on it. Saul eventually gave up and started packing up as well. You and him went to the exit door of the classroom and continued on in the hallway. You have a phone. We should exchange numbers and update each other so we can do the next two tasks. And I'm pretty sure everything else is the same, so we're skipping ahead. Right, so there's one last CG I wanted to unlock, and for this, I need to be in the library and find somewhere else to send. You don't want to deal with strangers or anyone at all at this very moment, even if you want to be at your spot at the very moment. Looking around, you decide to find a different seat. Sadly, the available ones you're able to see is the one next to the loud, gasping students. You swear, out of all the places to be, they have to be in the library. You decide to grab a book to avert your attention to something else. You don't feel like doing a research paper. You went to the fiction section. Tall bookshelves come in your view. Your fingers brush along the spines of the books. Some old, some new. Thud. The thought caused the shelf to wobble a bit, nearly knocking a few books down. You click your tongue and try to take a peek through the bookshelves to see what's causing it. Well, look what we have here. It's Cream McGee. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Great, another bullying situation. You sigh. Sometimes people never grow out of their high school phase. The poor teen didn't say anything as they were pinned to the bookshelf, explaining the few shakes. Just then, the teen muttered something under his breath. What'd you say? Speak up, you freak. I said, screw off. Shh. Why, you little... Thud. You winced, the red-haired landing a blow on the boy before your eyes caught something glistening from the raven-haired bully's pocket. A pocket knife. How did he get in with that? Let's see if you continue being a smart butt once I cut your mouth. I will stop them. I've got to stop them. You rushed out as quickly as you can across to where the bullies are. Stop! From the sound of your voice, the bullies halt in their movement and turn to face where you are. You looked at the teen, clearly knocked down on the floor, a few books on his side. Your eyes met with piercing reddish ones, and his eyes narrowed as he turns at your sudden appearance. If you hurt him, I'll scream and alert everyone in the library. By your threat, the bullies clicked their tongue before roughly kicking the teen to the floor and leaving, the raven-haired one shoving their shoulder on the way. You rubbed the area where they shoved you before turning your attention back to the teen on the floor. He looks pretty beaten up, a purple bruise forming on his left cheek. You went towards him and kneeled down, offering your hand. He said nothing, however, looked at your outstretched hand, hesitating for a while before gripping your wrist and helping him up. Now he's standing at his full height. He's actually pretty tall, probably around 6 feet. His red eyes then go back and forth around the area, back to you and on a random corner. We should probably get you to the nurse's off. I'm fine. No need. And with that, he quickly left the way he came. You trailed after him, seeing him packed up his things from what seems to be your usual spot before exiting the library. At least my usual spot is open now, but I wonder if they're actually feeling alright. So after saving him from the library, there's more variations in his dialogue, so I'm gonna say, pretty decent in art? Would you like me to draw you first? I mean, I don't mind. I'm quite confident in my skill of art, he said with a smile on your face. Soul thought for a bit. The offer was quite tempting, but then he remembers the bandage on his face. He shook his head as he took out his own sketch pad and his pencil. No, it's alright. I'd rather draw you for now. You sure? Yeah. Why so? Because you're prettier. But, Soul, what? I mean, I look horrible. Whoa, slow down. What were you saying? That, pretty? Yeah. Can I just draw you? I just don't like how I look with this bandage on my face. That's all. God, I feel like I'm about to explode. Just give a small chuckle before letting him do the honors and draw you instead. You sat up straight and fixed your hair as Soul started to sketch. Red covered his cheeks up to his ears as he tried his best to hide his blushing face behind his sketch pad. The sound of pencil against paper filled the classroom. You on your seat as Soul looks up at you and back at the paper from time to time. Whenever he gazes at you, you swore his eyes goes half-lit as if in a dreamy daze. But you didn't think much of it. Thank you. What was that? Soul stopped his strokes on the paper and finally locked gaze with you. His sketchpad covers half of his face as he speaks. Why are you so pretty? Thank you, Lion, for helping me back at the library. Oh, it's no problem. You were in quite a pickle and no one bothered to help you out. I don't know what I'll do if I didn't save you there. Well, you saved me the trouble today. After that, Soul said nothing as he looks at you before continuing on. You swear, you can see a small tint of pink appear on his ears as he keeps hiding half of his face behind his sketchpad. Small conversations were made then and there as he worked while you kept the air afloat. Sorry I wasn't able to make it in time for you to not get injured. You started and Soul's eyes just widened at you before shaking his head. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's... this type of thing's the norm for me. The usual for you. He sighed as if the thought alone is such a huge task on his hands while he continues on. I get in trouble either way, so what's the point? Soul then mumbled something under his breath, the grip of the pencil tightening in his grip before sighing and looking up at you. That was enough to calm him down and continued on with his sketch, leaving you dumbfounded. Before you know it, class was over. Soul, however, was not done with his portrait of you, as his pencil still makes a few more final touches on the sketchpad. Just a few more touches? There. Can I see? Of course. Soul hands his sketches to you, and you gasp. This looks great. The details and everything. It's not even done yet. Soul, this is amazing. How did you do this? By your compliment, he just rubbed the back of his neck and shrugged a little, a bit embarrassed at your compliment. I I love to sketch once in a while. I'd often draw random people in parks when I go out. You couldn't help but admire him and his work. Can I keep this? I mean, right after our professor grades it, of course. Sol places a hand under his chin, thinking about it. Not sure. I think I could do better than that. I really like this one. He just chuckled. Alright, you can have it once I'm done and our professor grades it. But in return, I get to keep the portrait you make of me. Alright? I think that's a fair deal. Sol agreed and you cheered. You gave back his sketch pad and fixed up your things. Sol packed up as well as you both headed out towards the hallway. Anyway, that was the kid at the back. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the creator's itch.io page is in the description below. I quite like this game. I feel like it shows a lot of promise. There are so many variations in all the different routes you can go down. And I have a feeling I might not even be able to actually go down every single route when the game comes out. Because holy frick, the amount of variations in each route is just, it's just amazing. I love this. I love this to bits. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.